Good day, YouTube, and welcome to another episode of the Albino Rhino beer review. Today, of the Rhino, and we're looking at a beer that I know absolutely nothing about. I don't know if this is a contract brewer, which I'm assuming it is. I don't know if it's a brick and mortar brewery, which I'm assuming it's not. I don't even know if maybe it's a fucking macro brewery that that has made a crafty beer, which I'm assuming it's not. I'm assuming this is a contract brewer. This is Homer's Lager from the Homer's Brewing Company. This is Homer's Premium Lager, sorry. So there's the big H. Amazing logo, man. Amazing. Actually, you know what? In all honesty, the H being what is your recognizable logo is with 3 stars under it. Even without the crown and the 3 stars, just that H is probably enough. I mean, that's the simplest logo you could have, and it would be recognizable. This is 4.6% alcohol by volume. It says over here, ingredients: water, malted barley, and hops. And then Homer's Brewery, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. See, this is the thing, right? I know that all a contract brewer does is they say the city they're brewed in. A lot of breweries don't want you to know who contracts out of them because it's kind of a hidden secret. Oh, no. We brewed a capacity. We don't have room for a contract brewer. I get that and all that, but if you are a contract brewer, I wish that it would say contract brewed in Toronto, Ontario, Canada instead of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, because right now I would go, hey, there's another brewery in Toronto I haven't been to. Let's go and try and visit. And I would go and try and visit. And I would fail at visiting because it doesn't exist if it's a contract brewer. Brewed with care for the everyday beer connoisseur. See, I would say that everybody, be it you, if you drink beer, you're probably an everyday beer connoisseur. You shouldn't. You're either. Well, I mean, connoisseur just makes it sound like you know what you're doing. No, you just say beer lover for the everyday beer lover. But then you don't want to use beer lover because that would make you think that you're a Molson or a Coors or a Bud drinker, and that's bad. You know what? Whatever you like to drink, you drink. Okay, if you like Bud, you drink Bud. I'm not a big Bud fan. I don't like Bud. But if you like Bud, you drink Bud. You're a beer lover just like I'm a beer lover. It doesn't matter if you drink a beer I don't like, you're still a beer lover. But a beer connoisseur just kind of gives it a snooty feel, right? Doesn't it? I mean, there are some slogans that make sense. You know, like brewed for a connoisseur, not an accountant, or brewed by a connoisseur, not an accountant, as Cameron says. That makes sense. Sure, I can get behind that. But made for the everyday connoisseur. Just the everyday thing just makes me think that it's everybody, and we're spending too much time anyway. In 2016, we wanted to create a beer with style and edge, and that's what we did. Mission accomplished. Homer's Premium Lager is made with 5 specialty malts, imported from Bavaria, the finest Czech hops and lager yeast. Enjoy our premium lager responsibly with family and friends. Okay, so you made a Pilsner. You brought in Bavarian hops and Bavarian malts and Czech hops, and you used a lager yeast. So you made a Pilsner. If you're a brick and mortar brewery, I do apologize because it's at that point in the night where I'm getting a little delirious from not sleeping. My insomnia kicked in. That's why I'm doing this beer review. So I must admit that my insomnia is kicking in and I'm getting a little delirious. So if you are a brick and mortar, maybe one day I'll visit you. If you are a contract, like I assume you are, I just shake my head at this point. How many contract breweries do we need making Kolsch's, lagers, and pilsners? How many tap handles do you think there actually are in Ontario? How many spaces on the shelf at the LCBO, at the beer store, do you think there are? I mean, the LCBO has done better now that they have their online ordering, which is how I got this. I can't get this at my LCBO. I bought this online, and I mean that's great and dandy. I mean, I'll give you this. I completely missed the can there. I completely missed the glass there. Did you guys see that? I hope you really didn't. I really hope you didn't. I'm going to use my shirt to dry this up. That's right. This table's had worse on it than a beer. Anyway, this reminds me, look-wise, of a Vienna lager. It's just that, it's that beautiful red color, that red amber hue, that beautiful orangey red, and the head was slightly off-white. I mean, it looks the part. It really does. It looks the part of a Vienna lager at that. I would not think with the ingredients that it was a Vienna lager. I thought Pilsner. You know, Bavarian malts, Czech hops, and lager yeast. I thought Pilsner, but this is obviously at the very least like a Vienna lager, at the most maybe an amber lager, but still, you don't normally get that from Bavarian malts. Usually, if you're using a Bavarian malt, maybe you're making an alt beer, but that isn't a lager. I'm weirded out here. I'm weirded out. I went on a little spiel, a little rant about a longevity of the contract industry in Toronto. When you think of, Lost Craft, Ace Hill, Triple Bogey, the list just goes on of just contract brewers doing this stuff. And then I pour this. So I digressed. I will admit that I was possibly wrong. I haven't tried this yet. I haven't smelt this yet. But just by the look, I was wrong. So I do apologize. Let's continue on. Let's be completely blank. Let's... Just like my kid. I'm not here. I'm here. Okay, everything's new. Let's give it a sniff. Okay, both of them are the same, just the can is more heightened, and they're both smelling like caramel. We're smelling well, I'm smelling caramel in both, and that's just the way it is. It just smells like caramel, a little bit of caramel, both on, a little bit of caramel in the glass, and a lot of caramel in the can. Let's drink the beer. Let's drink the beer. Let's drink the beer. Cheers. In 2016, we wanted to create a beer with style and edge, and that's what we did. Mission accomplished. A 4,200 different beer says mission not accomplished. Did you create a beer that anyone could drink and not complain about? Yes. Did you create a beer with style? You know what, if you like the old school style, yes, you did create a beer with style. I mean, that black can, well, black wrap with the white writing. Actually, I'm legally blind, and most of you know my albino eyes don't see much. This is beautiful on my eyes. It would be beautiful on anybody's eyes. But yeah, this H, if it's facing out on a shelf, it's very visible. So stylistically, yeah, you got that. But with edge, no, you didn't create a beer with edge. Okay, you created a beer that anyone could drink. You created a beer that I could go to the local. I could go across the street to Whiskey Nick's. Oh, I just gave people an idea of where I live. I'm not necessarily exactly across the street, and I only say that because the house exactly across the street is disgusting. But I could go across the street to Whiskey Nick's with my father-in-law, my father, my grandmother, and I don't know, my buddy, and in the basement, and I don't know, Joe, average Joe, and order a pitcher of this, and we could all have a glass from it, and none of us would love it, but none of us would hate it. It's a beer that we could all enjoy. We could enjoy our time together, and we could have a gay old time, for the best way of putting it. You could drink this with friends. You could drink this with family. You could drink this anywhere, and there wouldn't be a problem. But does it have edge? It doesn't fucking have edge. It's a 4.6% alcohol caramel flavored fucking lager. light-bodied, light carbonation, caramel and molasses flavored. Ooh. Burps up caramel and molasses. Soda water finish. No real hops on the back end. Check hops. I'd expect some grassiness, some spiciness, some dirtiness. I'm not getting any of that. I'm just picking up the malts, and I mean that's good for me. I'm a malt maniac, but it doesn't make it a beer with edge. I think at Homer's Brewery, homersbrewery.com. I'm gonna have to check you guys out. And I'm not, and I know it sounds like I'm bad mouthing the brewery, and I'm not. I'm just tired of marketing. I mean, marketing just angers me. I actually just recently was talking to somebody about a beer that's a $29 beer, and it was an $8 bottle, a $7.50 bottle. And I'm like, don't do that to the consumer. Don't do that to the consumer. And he's like, well, the beer's probably going to be great in there. Well, that's fine and dandy that the beer's going to be great, but the consumer doesn't need to pay $8 for a bottle. The consumer doesn't give a shit anymore about this stuff. There's world-class barrel-aged beers for anywhere from $7 to $15, and for you to come out with a $29 one because you had an $8 bottle isn't going to do anything for you except for make people that actually understand the beer industry angry. There's going to be lots of people that buy it. You're right. There'll be people, and I was talking to one of the brewers about it too, and he's like, "Well, people will buy this," and you're right. People will buy it. They will. They will definitely buy it just for the bottle. I won't be one of them. I won't be. And marketing pisses me off because of stuff like this. I wanted to make a beer that was with style and edge. Mission accomplished. And again, I admit, style, you have it. And it's not a golden lager, or a golden ale, or a Kolsch, or anything like that. I mean, this beer does have style, but it doesn't have edge. And I'm a stickler on things like that. I'm a stickler on the wording that you use to describe your stuff. It's a good beer. Don't get me wrong, I'm saying it's a good beer. It's a beer that, as I said, I could drink with anybody. Hell, if the Reverend was here, he would love it. Hell, if Paul was here, he wouldn't have it. The Cantankerous Cook, he wouldn't have a complaint. If the Cartoon was here, he probably wouldn't have a complaint. If Mantos was here, he wouldn't have a complaint. If In the Basement was here, he wouldn't have a complaint. I don't really have a complaint about the beer itself. The beer's fine. I have a complaint about the marketing behind the beer. And I understand that you need the marketing to push the beer, especially if you're a contract brewer. Don't get me wrong, I understand all that. I'm just speaking from my own perspective as a guy that has brewed at breweries, as a guy that has created recipes for breweries, as a guy that has done his Cicerone training, that has been working on different aspects of becoming more and more, shall we say, legit, even though he still thinks of himself as nothing but a drunk in a basement, as a guy that runs a beer festival, as a guy that has worked at beer awards, as all that. I'm just giving my opinion that way. That being said, this beer is not a bad beer at all, and I've probably ranted on and rambled on longer than I needed to on a beer like this. Out of 10 on this beer, I would give it a 7. I would buy it again. That's exactly where it is. That's exactly where it deserves to be. I probably ranted for 10 minutes now. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I can do 3 and 4 minute reviews when somebody's beside me, but when I'm alone, I just ramble. I need someone behind the camera doing this, you know? Come on. Get along. Anyway, 7 out of 10. I'd buy it again. Cheers.